All right, here's an example that might help y'all understand this a little bit. At least I sure hope so. We have a group of 140 high school students, and they were surveyed to see which one of the two possible after-school activities they would be interested in adding to the school's current list of activities. The two choices were photography club and gymnastics. So out of 77 students selected photography club only. All right, so only, that's a big word. Only meaning that that's what they decided, nothing else, just photography club. So we'll call this first circle P, and we'll put a 77 in there because that's the only thing 77 of them chose was photography. And then for the gymnastics, looking over here next to gymnastics, we'll call that G, and we have 14 students selected to take gymnastics only. That's what they would like to add. And then we had 27 students. They selected both activities. So 27 goes in the circle or the intersection of the two circles. So that's 27 in the middle where they intersect. Means they selected both photography and gymnastics. Okay, so we're supposed to use that information to create a Venn diagram. All right, we've done that. We labeled it appropriately. That looks good. And P represents photography club, and G represents gymnastics. All right, awesome. So far, we've done everything we needed to do. Now, it says 140 students. And looking at this, I don't see 140 students in here. I see 77 that have chosen photography. And I see 14 for gymnastics only, and then 27 that chose both. All right, and we add those together. That's 118 total accounted for in the survey. So what we don't have is 140 minus the 118. Looks like we're missing or unaccounted for 22 students. So what did they choose? Well, they chose nothing. And so because of that, they're not in photography. They're not going to be in photography. They're not going to be in gymnastics. So they're not going to be in both. So they're going to be on the outside of our Venn diagram. They're going to be in the section that did not choose either of the two activities. All right, our Venn diagram is complete. We finished it up, so let's look at the further on down the worksheet. All right, question 2 says the probability that a student chose photography. So that means that they chose not only photography, but they also chose gymnastics possibly, but not by itself. So we had the 77 plus we have to add the 27 because we had photography in both of those. That's including the whole circles, the 77 plus the 27. So that comes out to 104. So to find the probability of that, what we need to do is take 104 and divide it by 140. That giving us an approximated answer of 74% chose photography. Now it doesn't say photography only, it just says they chose photography. And we're going to do the same thing for gymnastics. We had 14 plus the 27. So we had 14 plus 27 chose or possibly chose gymnastics. They chose both or they chose it only. So that's going to give the fact that 41 people chose gymnastics. So our probability will be 41 divided by 140, or approximately 29% of the people chose gymnastics. Now we're going to have to calculate the probability of, remember what this notation is, probability of photography or gymnastics. So that's the union of everything. Union, meaning that's everybody. Okay, so that's going to be the 104 people who chose photography plus the 41 people that chose gymnastics. Now the problem with that is we counted somebody twice. We counted those people that chose both. So we have to subtract those people, or the intersection, to get the union. So in other words, it's going to be the probability of P plus the probability of G minus the probability of P intersection G to find the union. The union of those two. So that's going to give us 104 plus 41. That's 145 minus 27, which will equal 118. So 118 divided by 140 will give us the percentage of 84% probability. So 84% probability that they chose photography and gymnastics, or gymnastics. Then we're going to calculate the intersection of P union, or intersection P and G. That's going to be our center, so that's going to be 27% of 140, which will yield approximately 19%. And now for the last question, question 6, find the probability that a student did not choose gymnastics using the complement. Write the probability statement and calculate the probability. Well, the probability that they did not choose gymnastics, which is denoted by the apostrophe up there, that they did not choose gymnastics, is a probability that they chose photography and they didn't choose anything, which would be the probability of the union G that they did not choose. So the probability that they didn't choose either photography or gymnastics, which is going to be the probability they chose photography. Remember, it was only 77 only, plus the 22 people that didn't choose anything at all. So they didn't choose gymnastics, and neither did the people that chose photography only. So those added up together will be 99. And we're going to divide that by 140, giving us a probability total or percentage of 70% approximately. And that makes sense, since the probability of the people who chose gymnastics was about 29%. So the 70 plus the 29% would make 100% of the people. And if you think about that, the probability of people who did not choose gymnastics plus the probability of people who chose gymnastics would equal close to 100%. So that would be 70%, and the people who chose gymnastics was about 29%. And remember, we rounded here. So that would be very close to 100%, being as the fact that we rounded. Well, I hope that helps out a little bit as far as Venn diagrams and notation, about intersections, unions, complements, and that sort of thing. I know it's a little bit long and a little bit tedious, but I hope it was able to help you out.